Or let's start with the weekly moreover, okay? So let's also remove this Fibonacci. We can always draw this back, and let's also hide this. I really need to organize my shit, man. This is too messy. Okay, see. So we have done an internal liquidity sweep. This was our low. This was our low of week, and we have swept this. Now we have a liquidity pending around here. So the next and obvious move should be that price should go up, sweep that, and then come down. That's a weekly perspective, okay? But the daily is telling us a different story, because if I come on a daily, let me just also remove these boxes in meantime. Okay, so this is the high. Okay, do you see this high, 68.6k high? This is the high that you need to have a closing above, a daily candle closing above this high to change your structure. So people who don't know what a structure is, basically it is this is a bullish structure, right? When you are creating higher highs and higher lows. But in this case, right now we are in a bearish structure. That's your higher high, that's your sorry, that's your lower high, that's your lower low, that's your lower high, and that's your lower low, that's your high, and that's your lower low. So what was the last lower high? That was one. Now we need to have a daily closing above that, so so the price can have the continuation in a bullish trend. Okay, everything is clear from that. But the so yesterday we had a big daily candle, and we had huge spot buying coming in. I can even show you, like, let me just go on a 5 minute time frame. So that was the yesterday price action, and then you can see the immense amount of spot buys that were, sorry guys, that was coming in this period of time. But you also have to keep in mind, I know this can be a bit overwhelming, but it is actually really simple. So you see, when the price was going up, CVD was going up, but the open interest was going down. Now, I'm not going to explain you the science behind this, but if you need to understand the basic, that this means that this pump was driven by because the shorts were closing. Now, that is interesting thing, because if the pump is driven by because shorts are closing, this means that it is a short squeeze, and eventually the price will go down, and that is basically what is happening right now. And I was marking this, highlighting this same thing again and again. That is why I also had a short bias. So let's get to the price action again. Okay, you have this high which we need a daily closing above. What happened yesterday, even though we had a huge buying in, the price was not able to close above this high. Now this is not a good thing, because this is now classified as a swing failure pattern, which means that price intend to do something like a breakout, but it was not able to do it. Now this is bearish. This indicates that trend will basically continue, and we will make another low. That is the most obvious thing our trend is telling us. Now your influencer may tell you that we are going to the 80k all-time high, but keep in mind, guys, the trend is your friend. Give me a second. Yeah, sorry, the trend is your friend. Right now the trend is telling you that the price will go down, and no one in the world can convince me right now that price will go higher from here, unless the trend is changed on the daily. And it is not a rocket science, anyone can tell it. You just need a daily closing above this price, that's it. Now let's go on a 4 hour time frame, and of course we can also discuss about this daily level. And I don't need to tell you how good my levels are. You can see how beautifully my Harley level was respected here, and I marked out this level when price was like at 69k, and I marked out this level, and you can see how beautifully price respected that level. And again, this daily level, I can like pull up a I can pull up a like bot from my channel as well. Just bring up that if I can. Just give me a second, guys, if you can. This would really help you if you guys trade by yourself. Trust me, I am really happy that I'm doing this session. I feel confident, and I think you guys will learn a lot from this session. You should, at least. So this was my Discord update. Let me just, yeah. What do I say in this? 62,800 is the last level of the defense, is the first level of the defense. Not the biggest, of course. It was not the biggest defense level, but it was somewhat something. And you can see that was basically your that was basically your bottom. So never ignore, I never ignore my levels. I try to play them out as much as I can. And I will talk about why I didn't long from the bottom. Well, at least I tried, but unfortunately I was not able to do it. And you can see we also had a discount area around our daily level, and we respected it beautifully. So yeah, sorry, so we have no daily, no structure shift in a daily. but instead we have a swing failure pattern which basically indicates bearishness and the weakness in the price action. Now let's come on the 4 hour. Now some people will argue that on the 4 hour we have a break of a structure, so that is something good. But I would like to differ here, because ideally when you are seeing a break of structure, you want to see a displacement. Now what do I mean by this? Let's say this is your low, that's your higher high, that's your higher low, and when you're doing a structure shift, you should at least give this big move. I mean, not this big move, but there should be enough big move after the break of a structure that it looks like a structure shift. But now if I come here, what you see is that we did one closing, like literally just like $400 more closing than the previous high, and then we instantly dumped. That is not the type of structure you want to see. I can even show you the previous example. What do I mean by that? Like if I come here, um, yeah, that is what I mean. See, that's your structure. Do you see this break, how strong this break was, and this confirms your bearish structure? That is something you want to see when the trend changes. But I don't see anything like this, and this just looks like a continuation to the lower price action. That is basically all I think. Now of course there was one thing which could happen, was basically, and we did not do a breakout of a L as well. What do I expect next? Basically another low. So nothing can convince me that right now that we are going higher. My bias remains the short. I was shorting. I did caught a short. Now of course this is not my personal account, by the way. This is someone else's account. Because this is past account. So I did short, but unfortunately I was not able to share it with you guys. I did share it with you, but unfortunately we got stopped out because of the ending price action. Just wished that I shorted after the Nvidia news came out, because before that price was just really messy. And you can see we did a wick, and after that it was a really obvious short. Why? Because this was your range. You did a breakout of this range, and look at this beautiful. And anyone who say technicals doesn't matter, you can look how beautifully we did a bearish retest of this range, and then we entered in a new range. You can see a new range, and now we did a bearish and we did a breakout of this range, and that was your another retest. I think it wasn't that retest. It was a, yeah, you can see on a 5 minute time frame, that was your beautiful retest of your range breakout, and you can see this was your trade. And I did took that trade as well. It was a lower size, and that was the trade I'm talking about. So yeah, think ranges are the way to play this out, and you can see how beautifully this was played out. But yeah, I just wish I had taken a shot before the Nvidia price action. Yeah, unfortunately we cannot of course change the past now. Let's talk about some more things. So that was the 4 hour time frame. That is the 4 hour time frame I wanted to give you an update. I do not consider this as a good break of structure unless I see continuation from that. Then I can say okay, now we are turning bullish. But right now for me, I remain bearish. I expect lower unless the things changes. Okay, things this change. Now let's go on a 1 hour. So on a one, of course, the local structure here is, it looks way better because we have a proper structure shift here. We also have a change of character here. So the 1 hour looks relatively better, and I am looking for longs. If I get a really cheap, ridiculous cheap prices on Harley, then I will look to long. And these are my basically levels. If I talk about it, just pull this up. These are my levels. This is my first level where I'm looking to long 65K level. There are a lot of reasons for that. Of course, there is this OB you have, inverse imbalance you have, and of course you have also golden pocket around this level, and you also have the volume range low exactly coming at this. So that is basically my reason, and this is a pretty strong level. I would just love to have a bounce from this. You also have a end of the 4 hour imbalance. So I think if price comes to this level, then I would just love to look for longs, because this is a really good long POI, and this is also somewhat a good long POI because we have this imbalance, 4 hour inverse imbalance, and you have equal lows. So I would love to long in both of these levels. Okay guys, I hope this helps. These are my longs level. This was an obvious short opportunity. I did give a short, but unfortunately Nvidia price action fucked up our short, but our bias was right. That is, I think, is enough to tell us but we fucked up in the execution. I hope we don't do the same in when it comes to the longs. Now, one more thing I would like to admit is I also fucked up in this execution, Because do you see when price closed above this? Now I don't need to tell you the reasoning because I don't think so you will understand. But once price did a closing above this, that was my trigger to go for longs. But I did not do that. Then I had one more trigger when price closed above that, but I did not go long again. So I did fucked up in the execution. I did become scared not taking the longs, and I admit, and I think that's something I need to work on. It's not like I'm learning, but of course I'm a human. I'm a human being in the end, right? Emotions can take over me. That was my first trigger to look for longs. That was the second trigger, and I still did not long. And yeah, I just hope I had longed on this because this was a really clear trigger because this was a reclaim of a Monday low, I guess. No, oh, sorry. This was the reclaim of a Monday low. Very obvious trigger for me to look for longs, but unfortunately, I did not do that. Then this was another very obvious trigger, CISD on 1 hour, proper CISD. I would count this as a proper CISD, not this. But yeah, or you can say structure shift, but unfortunately, I did not long that. But yeah, I am hoping that instead now, of course, I know my mistake, so I will be more careful. And this was again, Nvidia news was the reason fucked up, but this was a clean failed auction, and I should have shorted this. But yeah, there were some mistakes from my side, and I sincerely apologize for that. But I do have good hopes that in the future we won't make the same mistake and we will make money together, guys. Okay, so yeah, these are my longs level, and this is my longs level. And again, my streams, I try to share the most information I can, why I execute, how I execute. Because guys, if you think you are gonna be rich by, or you're going to make substantial amount of income by following the signals, that is never going to happen. In the end, you will need to learn by yourself so you can make money. And if you're not learning ta by yourself, and you don't need to give like as much time as I give, if you're looking to do something like part time, you can just focus on like 1 hour a day for the chart, and you should still be good to go. And you can use our analyst styles like Muro, Soul, and Mine, and Waves ideas to execute from your side. So yeah, hope that helped. So these are my levels, and I'm gonna drop the chart in my channel, in my chat, so you guys can have the idea. Yeah, this is basically it. Now let's look at other coins. Okay, Ethereum. What we are looking at Ethereum. Yeah, again, this was a beautiful trade, but got fucked up because of the Nvidia price action. I shared it on my X, unfortunately, but yeah, nothing I can do if news was the reason we got fucked up. And this trade never got the stop loss. The stop loss was hunted because of the news. Otherwise, this trade played out perfectly to the tick. Now I think if you follow my streams, you already know the reasoning why I was looking to short this. Beautiful value area high of the range. You also had a 4 hour imbalance, and you also had this 4 hour order block here. So I think this was pretty much very obvious to look for shorts. And after that swept happened, this trade become like a must taken. And now we are again back into the value area, but this is looking way better than the Bitcoin. That is something I'm going to say to you guys. Okay, this is looking way better than the Bitcoin. So I think this POC is somewhat is good because we also have an imbalance around, inverse imbalance. Give me a second, let me look at this in more in depth. Okay, this 4 hour proper structure. That is what I was talking about when on a daily. This should have happened on daily on Bitcoin. Do you see this displacement we made after the structure shift? That is not what you have on the 4 hour on the Bitcoin. Now, do you understand what I was talking about? That is something I want to see. And you can already see how Ethereum is acting up support, how it is not even have touched the POC. But if we talk about the Bitcoin, it has already lost its POC. I hope it's load out. Yeah, you can see it has already lost this orange line. Do you see the difference? That is what I was talking about. Bitcoin is definitely being underperformed by the Ethereum right now, and this is such a clean price action, to be honest. So this is something I'm lacking. Okay, just give me a second. Um, okay, not really. Let me see if we have a pitchfork around there. Where's my pitchfork? Okay. Not really. I don't really have more confidences around this level. Talking about price action wise, I think this looks really good to me. And yeah, I would love to execute, but I won't like go with entire full size unless I have like more confirmation. So let's say if price comes to this, it starts to bounce, then I will add more here, more size in here. So I will go full size here, and then the continuation, I will play the continuation, something like this. But I really like this level. I would love to long this level, or at least look at longs around this level. And the second level is, I think, is a very obvious level, and I would just love to have this level. Is basically this level. Oh no, actually, yeah, basically more over this level. Also have this. Okay, yeah, I really like this level. So that would be my second level for the longs for the Ethereum. If we lose this POC, just like how we have lost in the Bitcoin, then we should retest this value area low and then we should bounce. Okay. Let me just look at the naked point of control on the Ethereum. Yeah, no naked point of control. Let me look at for the Bitcoin as well. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, nothing interesting. Okay. Let me just mark this out on the Ethereum. Okay. Yeah, there. Let me just mark this out, guys, real quick because I will then forgot. Okay, yeah, these levels are important to mark out because they really help you in the future. Trust me. Okay, and what's the next? Yeah, this is also good level. Okay, so yeah, I hope this Ethereum analysis helped you guys, and I would love to have a retest of a value area low for the longs in the Ethereum, and these are basically my levels for the Ethereum. Okay, let me just create the arrows here. If you have any questions, guys, do let me know. I will be happy to answer him. Explain your fib levels. Main. Yeah, I know main. Yeah, this is not main. This is, I mean, if I be honest, to be honest, these are the OTE levels. You can either use these or you can. No, that's my fib levels. Either you can use the golden pocket ones. These are also good levels. Okay, 0.66 level is actually really underrated level, and I think this gets respected a lot of time. So you can also have this level marked out on your chart, and then of course 0.79 level. So yeah, you just have to play around these levels. Okay, you can either use these, you can take a screenshot, or it will be available in the recording, or either you can use the OTE levels, but they're pretty similar levels except the 0.705. I think this is something where people like debate on. Either they like to use the 0.66 or 0.705. I personally, anything works for me. These OTE levels works better for me, to be honest. If I so to say, they are basically optimal entry points. Full form is basically optimal entry points. So it is, see, it is not about the levels, it is about like anything below the point 0.5 is the discount, and anything above the point 0.5 is the premium. So you want a short above the premium, and you want a long above the discount. That's the philosophy you need to understand. Other than that, you can, these are just to be more specific, most of the time this 0.62 is the most important level you want to look at. But yeah, if once you get more advanced, you can look at the other levels as well. Your main likes to use the breaker blocks, but to be honest, I never got to around with the breaker blocks because they are really hard to spot on the chart. I like inverse more. Inverse FEGs, CISD, and value area. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a really big fan of this volume profile, and I know a lot of people have started to use this, but I have been using this from a long time. Just combine it with the basic order flow, like who's leading right now. You can see this dump is led by the spot. Um, start it was led by the perps when this range was happening, but now you can see it is led by the spot, which is a good sign, which indicates that our bias is good. Solana. Oh, Solana does not look good. And I do have a good reason to say, like, again, you can see the breakout in the displacement. I'm gonna make you remember this, guys. 4 hour on the Bitcoin, see this breakoff structure, and now analyze the same with the Solana. You should be able to see the difference. Your eyes should be able to see the difference. So this is good stuff, but I don't like this. This is really bad, and this is a clear SFP of the high. If you guys ask me, the chart looks bad. Okay, a lot of people are bullish on these charts, but I'm personally bearish. These SFPs did not look good. I think the Bitcoin is the only chart where we did not had SFP on a 4 hour, like of this high, but we had a SFP on a daily, which is a more bad than 4 hour. So trust me, these charts looks bad to me. I don't know how people are turning bullish, unless I see some shifts happening. I'm not bullish. I mean, this is a break of structure, but I think I would still like to see break out of this range now before I turn bullish because of this SFP, because this looks really bearish. I don't know how people don't see it. So at least look for longs level on the Harley. And again, these levels I'm sharing, these are not supposed to be swing trades. This is something you guys need to understand. These are scalps or intradays. So let's talk about the 4 hour, where I'm expecting to go long on the 4 hour. Let me go on. I have never been a fan of Solana chart. Again, the swing failure happened at the lows, price went to the high. Now the swing failure happened at the highs. Now the price should go lower. That's the philosophy. Okay, so this is a good level again, and you can see the price is getting some sort of bounce from there to the point 0.5. Again, if we lose this level, then the next level I'm looking at is a retest of the value area, which aligns beautifully with our 0.705. So that would basically what this. Look at the 1 hour time frame to see if I can optimize this bit more. That would basically be my next level for longs on the Solana if we lose this level. But I think we can catch a good scalp. But the only thing I'm scared of is the Bitcoin and the Iran war, because I don't know if you guys are aware of the geopolitics. That Iran obviously rejected the US deal. I don't know why Iran would accept that in the first place, because the deal is like a really shit deal. They're basically asking Iran to give everything to the US. If you ask my opinion, I don't know, you never asked for it, but if you ask my opinion, it's basically US is just trying to delay the war preparations. US is just trying to get more time, accumulate more time through these like negotiations, but in the meantime, they're going to launch a full strategic war. That's something that is something my theory is, because if you look at the terms of the deal, they are pretty trash. I don't know why. You can clearly tell that US is not even trying to make a deal. They're just trying to cash on the time, and Iran knows that. Yeah. And I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to comment on that. But this is something. These are my Solana longs level. I hope this helps you. Yeah, I'm really happy with today's levels, because I think market is more clear and I'm able to give you a more thorough market update. If you guys want, I can also look to do the streams daily, give you the updates daily, or maybe thrice in a week if there is more support. But yeah, overall happy with this. Let me know, guys, if you have more chart requests, if you have some chart requests for me to do. Otherwise, this is it for me. And I'm not a scalper, I'm an intraday trader, so I cannot share the lower time frame scalps. But yeah, happy to share these levels with you. Hope this helped you. At the hype and hype. I also shared about the hype on my channel and even on my X. Yeah, it was pretty obvious that hype would reject. You can see we also had this 1 hour imbalance. We also had like a 0.79 retest. It was pretty obvious that hype was gonna reject. Unless it had reclaimed, then I would have loved to go long, but nah. I think hype is dead, unless I see a breakout. Okay, I don't know. I'm not a, like a we analysts are not some sort of magicians, or what do you say, fortune teller. We just tell you what is on the chart and what is flow is telling you. And right now, this looks bad. Unless I see shift on this is good, and this will basically just go down and break these lows. Yeah, I just shared the Solana update. I just shared it, bros. $80 is my level. $80 is my level. I don't know, bro. You asked the same questions. Can you just explain? Not look good to me. I mean, this accumulation does not look good to me. I like how we have a proper structure breaks with displacements. I like it. Well, not this, but this. And you can see beautiful retest of this. Like how it's holding. Something I like. And I like how we have reclaimed this range. See this? This was our range. We did a breakout, bearish retest, and then we went lower, deviation, and now we have reclaimed the range. Pretty simple. So long as we trade, we are above this range. This is good, but this price action is not tradable. Okay, this is not tradable. I think this price action is usually a sign of explosion. Either we're going to see explosion above, or either we're going to see an explosion towards the downside. Because this is not tradable. I think they're just generating the liquidity on both sides. Most probably, you can see the liquidity is being built up at the lows as well and at the highs as well. So let's see. There's nothing to look at the chart unless this movement happens. Like how we are sweeping the lows, so most probably now higher. Overall, as long as this range is intact, I'm happy. I will look to trade this. Bro, I don't care what CA is, CZ does, to be honest. Neither you should. Just look at the price section and the data you have in front of me and just ignore the noise. If you're going to look at what CZ is saying and blah, 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 what's trending on the Twitter, you're never going to make money. The goal is to make money, not to look at like what CZ is saying. I never cared about these news, to be honest. Now we have a news about the Jane Street, etc. Man, the chart tells you everything. You can say the Jane Street was manipulating the price, etc. But anyone who knows the TA could have see this coming, this selling on the New York. So yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. It's easy magic price action. Yeah, could be. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's EV. I think it's affiliated with the CZ. But yeah, this looks bad. This price action just looks very cheeky. I like how the OBV is up on a 4 hour, also on a 1 hour. But again, do you see this high? If I mark out the OBV, yeah, OBV haven't done a breakout, but the price action have done it. That is usually never a good sign. Just take an example from the hype. Whenever this happens, this is not good. And then you can also see the open interest is also going down the drain, despite um, the price is going up. This indicates there is no heavy interest in this coin. So yeah, I'm not really happy about this. Oh yes, we can look at the Tau. I was looking at the Tau other day, and my idea remains the same. If you guys know the WG analyst Wood, I was chatting with him on the X, so that is something I'm looking at on the Tau. I like this idea more. Looking for longs could be good, but again, this is the type of this looks bad, you know. If I go and look at this high, and that is how they get you. The price have done a sweep, not a structure shift, and the most probable situation now should be that price should go lower. But if we see a continuation from these POIs, see a continuation from there, that's basically your sign to look for longs. But right now, to me, this should basically go lower. Why? Because the structure is bearish. Simple. That happened. This structure is your bearish, and I think is the most probable situation for the Tau. Unless the structure changes, of course, then the data changes. You have new scenarios to look for. But at current price action, at according to the current data, I analyze that the market should go down basically. That is the box I'm looking to look for longs basically. You can look to sweep this as well. This is also a good area, 151 sweep, or also $150 can also held as a support because of a round number. Overall, this was a good short opportunity, and now I'm looking for lower. Let me also just draw the. Yeah, we are at the POC, and I do believe we will lose this because the Bitcoin looks bearish, and we will eventually go to this value area low. And from there, you can look for potential longs, but I won't really be a fan of that. I would say look for the breakdown instead. Like we go down there, we do a breakdown of that, and that is where you short and you target the lower because the structure is bearish. I'm going to repeat the same thing again and again. You have your distribution, like you can see this was your accumulation, this was your manipulation because we swept the lows, and that was your distribution because we have swept the highs. So the PO3 have played out perfectly, and I don't think so if anyone is saying that PO3 should go higher, it won't make sense because we have swept the major liquidity, major external, and the manipulation wasn't that big enough to say that now we will go much higher. So yeah, I think this basically looks good for lower to me. Hope this helped you, man. Particular thing, time frame you want to look at? Otherwise, that should be good. I hope that's good. And again, I will always encourage you guys to take your own trades, start to do the technicals. Otherwise, you will leave left behind. I think this bear market is the really good opportunity for you to these ranges because ranges creates opportunities. That is basically what I believe, because ranges are the way that you can heavily improve your technical skill and understand about the market price action and more in depth. These are not buzzwords, this is actual thing. The most money I made is in the ranges, the most I learned is in the ranges as well. It's the best thing I can advise you. I don't like the trends personally because trends are usually harder to trade because they move so fast. They don't give you proper retest, and once you get the retest, you become like really obnoxious. I don't know what's the good word for it, is that I don't want to make an entry. Okay, so I don't like the trends personally. I love the ranges. Give me ranges, and I will do good. But unfortunately, this range haven't been great for us. Well, ideas wise, it was good. Good. We shorted this, and I believe we also long this. We we also long this. No, I did not long this. Yeah, I just explained. But I wanted to long this, and I shorted this, but unfortunately we got it stopped out. So the problem right now, I'm the most this month I have faced is execution, and I will. Of course, I hope the next month we don't face the same problem. Yeah, that's what max I can say. The altcoins, but I can look at this. Yeah, that's not interesting price action. Maybe you can look for longs if you want. Yeah, you should definitely look for scalps and intraday longs because we have swept the liquidity. If anyone had the order placed in here, they would have been doing good. But yeah, this looks good to me. And yeah, again, as I say, this is usually a never sign when a price leaves lows like this. You should sweep the lows. That is how you form the actual bottom. So yeah, we will see some sort of bounce. We can even see a bounce towards these equal highs, and then eventually manipulate this and go lower. But yeah, nothing to say about this price action. A bounce is must because we have swept the liquidity, and this jump was a lot. This is most probably the good bottom. We have swept the liquidity and also swept this lows. There is a huge spike in the volume. See this? So expect a continuation towards higher, and then we can look for what happens from there. Of course, eventually this will go lower because this is a shit coin, but be an interesting trade for you. 20% up, 20% up after being down for 50%. Amazing. 3%, right, or what? 34%. Lol. So yeah, this is trade shitcoins for exact reasons. They don't respect technicals that much. Higher caps will make much more money. Obviously, trade higher caps, and this was another good sign that the bottom top is in. Local top is in because you had a spike in the volume. We are seeing some sort of spikes in here as well, so I will be observing the price action. But of course, this spike was the biggest. That is the type of spikes you want to see to call out the major bottoms, and this was the major bottom. And I did call out the bottom as well. Everything is on my X. You can check it out if you want, and on my channel. So, thank you guys for joining in. I do this every Monday and every Thursday. Usually on the Monday, I make the update in front of you so you guys can learn with me. And usually on the Thursday, I try to give the follow up update of what we analyzed on the Monday. So yeah, always appreciate your presence here. Thank you guys for joining in. I'll see you on the next stream on the Thursday or on the Monday. Cheers, guys. Have a great day.